Hey there. We started Jentic about 18 months ago in anticipation of the arrival of the universal agent. We wanted to build a unified API layer to keep things secure while hooking agents up to as many capabilities as possible. Now, it's taken some time for the universal agent to arrive, but now it has in the form of OpenClaw. And we put a rush on here in Jentic to package up a version of our software in a free open source self-hosted package that we're releasing today so that everyone running OpenClaw can get the benefits of access to 10,000 APIs securely with safe credential management and fine-grained access control. And we're going to show you that process from start to finish right now.
Yep. We should introduce ourselves as well, I think.
Yeah, let's try that. I'm Sean Blanchfield. I'm CEO, co-founder here at Jentic.
And I'm Michael Cordner. I'm CTO here. I'm going to drive this demo while Sean talks about it. But just very quickly, what I'm going to do here is set up Jentic Mini from scratch on a fresh OpenClaw installation. And then I'm going to drive it to do its first API connection. But Sean is going to talk through that while I set this up here so we can parallelize things here.
Okay, right. So we jumped in on OpenClaw pretty early because obviously we're into these agent things. And we have just about as many OpenClaws in Jentic now as we have people. And it's stunning. But like everyone else using OpenClaw, we hit the same problem. Right. You want to connect it to your email, you want to connect it to your stuff, but something holds you back. Like just the sheer risk, for instance, of trying to hook your OpenClaw up so it can draft and send emails. It actually turns out if you're dealing with something like Gmail, you can't just do that. You can only give it permission to draft and send emails, not just to draft them. And that's before you get into all the complexity of hooking up to so many different services. So this is one of the things we fix. When you install Jentic Mini, alongside your OpenClaw, all of the credentials live in Jentic Mini, fully isolating it away from OpenClaw. So OpenClaw doesn't get to see those credentials. It also creates a single place where you can discover and access all of the APIs in the world, or upload your own, if you like, where you can manage those credentials and do fine-grained permission control. So regardless of what the upstream services are, regardless of how permissions are managed on those tokens for those upstream services, you have one dashboard in Jentic Mini where you can define what your agents can access and what they can't, where you can build up policies. And in fact, you can get your agent to help you build those out and manage those while keeping you in the loop as the human.
I'm just going to talk a second just what happened here. Yeah. So we went to install the Jentic skill from ClawHub, which is available now on ClawHub. You might have seen earlier, there's a suspicious flag on there. I'm not sure where that came from, but this is a live demo. Our agent did decide it is actually not suspicious because it calls external APIs, but it's always good to be careful. So it's walked me through the installation of Jentic Mini. Now, normally we would recommend you install Jentic Mini on a separate machine entirely, and that keeps the process boundary in place. There's no chance whatsoever that an agent can access your credentials in that case. You can also install it locally on the machine that you're running it on if you just want to kick the tires a little bit, which I did here just for the sake of speed. But ordinarily, you could install this on a DigitalOcean droplet or your own VPS or whatever.
Yeah, I have it on a Docker container alongside the Docker container that my OpenClaw lives in, all on the same Tailscale network. So that's a pretty nice solution.
Yeah.
And my OpenClaw doesn't have access to the Docker socket, so the Jentic Mini is fully isolated from it. And that gives me the confidence to actually connect it to lots of things in a way that I just simply wasn't willing to do before we had this so readily available.
Absolutely. And connect it to something we will. We're going to connect it to something real here. We need to give it a minute. So talk amongst yourselves.
Okay. So let me position some of this with our wider work with enterprise. While we were waiting for the universal agent to arrive all of last year, we built a lot of this stuff, which is all about, you could call it governance with the capital G, but it's security, fine-grained permission control, and a single point of observability. It turns out these are the same problems that enterprises fundamentally have, alongside with the question of APIs themselves. Fundamentally, like an agent is when you connect AI to APIs to get stuff done, and the quality of those APIs and the quantity of those APIs basically define the range and the quality of what your agent is able to do. So we've built a whole bunch of stuff up over the last year to take APIs in, to enrich them with AI, to improve the API descriptions, to make them semantically searchable. I think we'll be releasing something soon, a paper soon, showing how our semantic tool search engine evals state of the art, significantly better than anything else. And On top of that, workflows and other stuff. So we've built all this for enterprise over the last year. We've hardened it for enterprise security requirements. And what you're seeing here is actually basically a self-hosted version of the same thing.
Absolutely. Do you want to talk a little bit about this OAuth broker thing here? Because I think this is a really good distinguishing feature in Jentic Mini while I set it up.
Yeah. Well, it's not just API keys, right? So a lot of especially in a personal context, a lot of the services you want to connect your agent to are like popular SaaS services, things like Gmail, Slack, and so on. So you're going to authenticate into those with OAuth. It's that can be quite difficult because it can involve a lot of verification and validation upstream with each of those providers that can take a company really years to get through. But here what you see is first-class support for Pipedream in Jentic Mini. Pipedream has already gone through all of those OAuth verifications, so you don't have to. All right, so let's talk about OAuth. Practically speaking, in any personal context, you have a lot of SaaS accounts you need to hook up, Gmail, Slack, etc. To do this, it's about OAuth, not so much about API tokens. But it can be a real pain in the ass to go through that process. Either like you're dealing with going into cloud accounts and creating client keys and client secrets in Word user interfaces for each of them. Or you're faced with going through years of compliance and verification with them. Pipedream has solved all this. Pipedream is basically a platform that's done all the OAuth verifications with all of these platforms, all of these third-party platforms for you. So we have Pipedream as a first-class citizen in Jentic Mini to make it super easy for you to connect all of your accounts. I think Michael's going to walk through it from a cold start with a fresh claw right now.
That was a fresh claw. I've just reset the context here, so it does know about Jentic now, but this is all fresh. New session. So I'm going to ask it, I want to connect my Gmail account and spell it incorrectly because
that's
the LLM doesn't care.
That's the way we claw.
And check it's available. Again, this is a good example of the agent should be driving me for the most part. I tell the agent what I want it to do, and then it'll tell me what to click on in the UI and what to do.
Yeah. Welcome to the future. Agents orchestrating humans.
It's executing tools underneath those. It will be doing some searching in Jentic underneath to find it there. So it's got the broker key. It's my Gmail catalog. Great. So now it's going to try and connect me to Gmail via OAuth.
Yeah. What's going on underneath the hood there is it's found the Gmail API in the Jentic catalog, which is a public open source catalog. You can go onto GitHub and see it. Thousands of APIs. It's noticed that it's annotated with Pipedream support, so it's picking that up, and it initiated this flow, created the link for Michael, sent Michael into the Jentic Mini UI, which bounced him up to Pipedream, connected the thing, and now back to chat.
Chat, okay. And once that's there, it should now connect everything up within Jentic Mini, and we should be able to get the contents of my email. There we go. Now it's provisioning within Jentic Mini, so that's making sure it has the right API and it knows how to use it.
Talking about toolkits there, I'll just mention this. In Jentic, a toolkit is a collection of APIs and permissions that you've given to an agent. So that's the thing where you're managing access control and permissions all in one place in your toolkit.
Yep, there it is.
Right.
It's connected.
There's a lot of open API specs landing in the repository at the moment. Yeah, there's
brilliant. Oh, now here's
44
actually,
new ones.
Yeah, one of my favorite features now, which
2 minutes ago.
One of my favorite features coming up here, which you can't actually do just with plain Google OAuth scopes. I'll send a mail to Sean, wishing him happy birthday. It's not his birthday. Don't
Thank
send
you
any
anyway.
messages.
I'll take it.
Yeah, let's do that. And it's trying to do so, and look what happened.
It cannot send because you did not allow it to send yet.
And this is by default. I think by default it's probably a good idea when you first connect your Gmail account, it should be allowed to do anything other than read it, which is what the default access gives us. Oh, it's trying to.
Oh, there's the proactivity. What's it going to ask for?
It's going to try and ask me for permission to
Allow posts, right?
request a message. And you know what? I'm not sure I want this
Yeah.
right now. So denied.
So you're going to ask it just for draft
Okay.
permission, right? So here's something you can't do in Gmail, even if you go direct through OAuth, and in which case you're managing permissions upstream in Gmail through the OAuth scopes that you're approving on the Gmail side. Like many like OAuth providers, those are very coarse permissions. In Gmail, you can't give permission to just create a draft. You can only give permission to create a draft and send an email, which is just one of those practical things holding a lot of us back from giving access to OpenClaw, because we don't want it sending emails, because someone could prompt inject you by sending you an email and get it to email them back who knows what.
Yep, and we can see here, now I'm only going to allow post request to draft.
Yeah.
And you can actually see the permissions here in the UI, even though most of the time you shouldn't need the UI because the agent.
This is what it looks like. So it's super fine grained. It's down to every API endpoint, every HTTP verb. It actually supports regexes, so you can really get into some detail if you want. But you don't need to write all this yourself. Just like you saw, the agent will actually, by default, draft the permissions and try to incrementally expand its permissions by sending you permission requests. Because it's so incremental, you can actually judge them pretty well on a case-by-case basis, whether you want to allow it, just like Michael just did.
I did, and in another window here, I'm just pulling up a draft. I'm not going to pull this in. Actually, no, I think this is fine. Nothing. And there's
None of our secrets.
no secrets here. There's our draft.
Okay.
Happy birthday. Hope you have a great day.
Thank you very
It's my
much.
birthday.
Yeah.
So, that's a very quick overview of Jentic Mini.
Yeah. There's a few other things I think really worth talking about here before we jump out. So there's a larger vision here about the fact that the capability of agents is driven by APIs, by the quality of those APIs, and the accuracy of agents doing things is defined by the quality. I should say the quantity and quality of APIs. So having this communal catalog of APIs is very important. There's been catalogs of APIs in the past that have been human created. It's not a human scale task to try to create a single repository of all the APIs in the world and to increase the quality of those to the degree that agents really need so they can one-shot against APIs accurately. This is something that has to be solved in the community, but not the community of people, but the community of clause. So part of the vision behind Jentic Mini is that it creates a place where agents, as they work with Jentic Mini to try to use APIs, automatically try to repair those APIs. It's really what we know is just something that OpenClaw will intrinsically try to do. It will say, you know what, this API nearly worked, but the security scope was incorrect. So I'm going to go off and research it and find the right one. And then it figures out the right way to call that. Well, when your OpenClaw is connected to Jentic, it will automatically try to encode that into an OpenAPI overlay and upload it back into Jentic Mini. So the next time it is correct. And our vision for Jentic Mini is that kind of pattern where all of the OpenClaws connecting to APIs, whenever they discover an inaccuracy or something that could be improved, that they have the scope to make that improvement on the spot and upload it back into the commons, basically. So all of our agents collectively are building this shared knowledge base of the APIs of the world and how to use them accurately. And this extends from APIs then up to workflows. We're very, very happy to have the author of the Ratso standard, which is the new open workflow standard from the Open API initiative, to have that person, Frankel Commons, on our team driving this. Any agent connected to Jentic Mini can create a workflow. So when it figures out how to do a task that involves hitting 1, 2, 3, or 20 different endpoints to get the job done, it can save that back into Jentic Mini as a workflow. And then the next time it searches for something to do that job, it'll turn up the workflow it saved last time and be able to just call that workflow and have it deterministically execute. Right? That makes it fast as well. Right? So the first time through, your agent is discovering how to get something done, and the second time through, it doesn't need to discover it anymore. It just does it in one step. And that's how you actually drive reliability and efficiency in agents at scale. And all of that goes back into the collective commons as well, if you allow it to. It's based on public APIs. So this is the big picture. It's actually, you could say, if you stand back, the public catalog that's backing this up, we want it to be for agents, for APIs, and for workflows what Hugging Face is to models. What GitHub is to source code. Yeah, I wanted to get that in there. I think that's the collective mission we're on here.
Yep.
A mission for the community of Claws and every other universal agent. Feel free to hook this up to Cowork. It's great there. Cloud Code works great. Manus, whatever you have.
Absolutely. That's great. But I think we've exceeded now our 10-minute time.
Okay.
There's a quick demo to show you how Jentic Mini can be useful to anybody in a personal capacity, just to get started with it and understand how it works. So, and yeah, that's it from us, I think.
Yeah, cool. Enjoy. And what do we want to close a bit? ClawHub install Jentic should be how you get there.
Yeah, absolutely. Or just like an English phrase, can you install Jentic from ClawHub? That should be all you need, hopefully.
Yeah. We should put that on a billboard. Okay.
In San Francisco. Okay.
See you.